I rank where the view is nothing less than phenomenal. For how I express and project from my abdominal. The only view better, both my daddy and my mama know. No living parents, my sons give me balance. My wife is my serenity, this mic is my identity. The world is foul enough, that's why I write without obscenities. Provoking danger with broken language and spoken anguish. Begging to get hurt, why would you ask to go through changes? Yes, Lord, life's a chessboard, master the angles. Control the tempo, be the one who holds the info. Acknowledge is just as deadly as machete swings. When spoken, the truth is as potent as that Medellin. While others swear the style is free, I just let it ring. Our time is undervalued, soldiers make us better kings. My fam's on my shoulder, reaching after better things. Today I take the shot, for them I'd rather set the screen.
My mama told me follow my dreams. My daddy told me get it by any means. Stand tall, make him bow to a king. But I've evolved, you can see the resolve. Look in my eyes when you speaking to God.
Life and for those who we caught up in using what I was taught with the muse. I guess they call it proving I'm more than an artist. Penciling out my darkest while stenciling out a harvest. And storing what gets me from A to B, just like garages. Instrumental with collages. Envision what I've been drawing. Broadway to give you rhythm like the great Lena Horne. So bent on, found comfort in the storm. Find peace and on when you see them others perform. Organized chaos, I'll cast it like hey ya.
Yo, party people in the place to be. What's good? It's the number one Chief Rocket, Knicks Universe, your main man, Uncle Freezy. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Y'all want this party started right. Y'all want this party started quickly. Right? All right. I see y'all out there. Man, it's been a busy day. Man, shout out to Knicks fans everywhere. I'm not even going to lie to you. I'm one of these people that never thought that I'd be having this conversation with y'all. Right? I never thought I'd be one having this conversation. Right? For one, get that energy up. All my people in the building, South Brooklyn, Bully, great show the other day, man. Still good listening. Still good listening. When y'all don't cut Bully off, man, Bully can get in his bag. Sherwin is in the building. King Embed out here. JJ out here. I see y'all. David L in the building. The original DSJ, the R&B sensation, is in the building. King Ribby, what's good? Sherman says, good. I was never a fan of Melo. He was a black hole. He prevented the Knicks from being a good team. Wow. Okay, Sherwin, I see you. Bully says, thanks, Unc, for what? For what? Talking about for Melo? Man, I love Melo like everybody else, man. I'm a Melo fan, yes. I'm a Melo fan for sure, right? At times when thinking about how Melo contributed to the Knicks, I'm sometimes put back by how great he was versus how great he could have been. Sometimes that's my you know what I'm saying, my space. Rel is in the building. Salute to our guy Rel, man. We talk Mavs. Yo, I ain't even gonna lie to you, man. Sometimes I'm late, like on the Knicks at Night podcast. Sometimes I'm late because I'm watching Rel and King Kai. Yo, I love it, bro. I ain't even gonna lie to you. You know what I'm saying? You know how, like when you have a channel and sometimes people be rocking, you be like, man, they ain't talking about nothing. With Rel and King Kai, man, it's hilarious, bro. So, hey, Rel is my guy, man. I love watching we talk Mavs, man. I love watching We Talk Mav. Shout out to them brothers, man, for doing anything, putting out good content. Great content. Shout out to them. They gonna be so big one day they gonna forget about me. You know what I'm saying? They gonna be like, Uncle Freezy. Who the hell is Uncle Freezy? I don't know no Uncle Freezy. Yeah, shout out to Rel and them, man, for doing anything. But on this point, man, let me get into my bag about Melo. I have this thing about Melo, right? It's confounding, right? I have this thing about Melo that's confounding. I have a lot of people that come to me and say, man, y'all crazy. It's about the name on the back of the jersey or the name on the front of the jersey. It ain't about the name on the back of the jersey. You can't get attached to players. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. I know people say, man, it's about the team. It's about the organization. It ain't about the players. Players come and go and players this and that. That's not true all the time. That's not true all the time, man. Right? That's not true all the time, man. And how I know it's not true is when we start having these conversations about where the team can go, how come the team ain't doing this or how come the team ain't doing that. The first thing they do is bring up players. The first thing, man, if Randall could shoot the three better, wait a minute, you said it was about the name on the front of the jersey. And so anyway, that's my little jab at that. But let me say this though. Every once in a while, a player will come along and he is so good that he puts a lot of conversation. A player will come along and he's so good, they will drive the conversation. Every once in a while, a player will come along, they'll be so good that they drive the conversation. Melo is that guy. Melo is that guy. I'm telling you right now that Melo was so good. And I'm saying this as a hardcore Knicks fan. I've been a hardcore Knicks fan since God knows when. Carmelo Anthony put a stamp on this team, and for a generation of Knicks fans, they can't. For a generation of Knicks fans, he is the greatest Knick of all time. You feel me? For a certain generation of Knicks fans, Carmelo Anthony is the greatest Knick of all time. And when they speak to that, when they say that, when they say that out loud, at first, I'm like, what? What'd you just say? And then I think about the impact that Carmelo Anthony had on a generation of Knicks fans. And I step aside and let them have their conversation, let them have their way. Right? Because while I don't agree that Melo is the greatest Knicks greatest Knicks player of all time, I do have to understand where they're coming from. A lot of you guys think Patrick Ewing is the greatest Knick of all time. Right? And y'all watched Patrick Ewing have an impact on a generation. Like when y'all say 90s Knicks, people need to stop. Because the 90s Knicks, there's no such thing as 90s Knicks. There's no such thing as 90s Knicks. Those Knicks teams didn't carry Pat. Patrick Ewing carried a franchise on his back for 15 years. We should be saying the Ewing years. Because for about 15 years, Patrick Ewing was a multiple-time All-Star, generational talent, franchise player. During those Ewing years, I think there may have only been, in 15 seasons, there may have only been like 6 or 7 other Knicks All-Stars. Maybe. Right? Maybe. Possibly. And during Melo's time, the 7 seasons Melo was here, about 5 of them were great. Right? About 5 of them were great. The how he finished here, how Melo finished as a Knick was bad. Not because Melo was bad, but because the organization was bad. T. Williams is in the building. I often have these internal struggles. CAA Mafia is in the building. I often have these internal struggles where I feel like Melo gets a bad rap. But I also feel like I have these internal struggles when I think about how great certain players are, and if they are a Knick, or if they, for instance, when I look at Carmelo Anthony, I consider Carmelo Anthony a Knick. I don't care that he played 18 seasons in the NBA, and he only played 7 of them as a Knick. I don't care. I don't care. Let me see. Melo played 15, 17, 18, 19, 20. So Melo played 19 seasons. Right. Melo played 19 seasons. Okay. I view Carmelo Anthony as a Knick. Even though he was drafted by the Nuggets, played 8 seasons with the Nuggets, was a star with the Nuggets, all of that, I consider Melo a Knick. Here's where the conversation turns. And this is the reason why I have to specify and have to speak to a certain thing. So while Melo played 8 seasons elsewhere before he came here and played seven seasons, Mark Jackson was drafted as a Knick, went to school, went to college, went to high school in the city, went to college in the city, started his career with the Knicks. I view Mark Jackson as an Indiana Pacer. I could not unsee that. That's why when y'all clamor for Mark Jackson as head coach, and trust me, this is about Melo, right? This is about Melo, but let me clarify. That's why when y'all clamor for Mark Jackson to coach the Knicks, I'm like, no, I don't want him. Mark Jackson is an Indiana Pacer, and I don't care that Mark Jackson started his career with the Knicks and ended his career with the Knicks, wearing number 31 like he was a power forward. I don't care about that. Mark Jackson, yes, New York's own Mark Jackson, went to high school in the city, went to college in the city, was drafted by the Knicks. All of that. I view Mark Jackson as an Indiana Pacer. I can't unsee that. I can't unsee the little shimmy in the garden, you wearing that ugly ass navy blue and yellow. I can't unsee that. And I know people make up this weird thing, once a Knick, always a Knick. That's BS. That's BS, because right now there's a portion of the Knicks fan base that would trade Randall to the Shanghai Sharks right now for nothing. But cats be like, yo, once a Knick, always a Knick, right? No, that's not how this, no. It's not quite how this thing works. Right? It's not quite how this thing works. Knicks fans ran some dudes out of town on a Greyhound and then say, once a Knick, always a Knick. That's why when I state that Melo is a Knick, Melo is a Knick. Melo is a Knick. I'm not going to get into it right at the second. At the second, I didn't want to get into Melo's stats and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like some things are beyond putting the ball in the bucket. Like Melo's 62 against Charlotte. Melo's 3 over Taj Gibson that got Mike Breen jumping out of his seat. In my opinion, as a longtime Knicks fan, and trust me, I've seen them all come and go. I've seen them all try to put on that Knicks jersey and then like, nah, man, it's too much. I've seen them all come and go. I've seen them all come and go. Y'all know what I mean. I've seen them all come and go. I saw the Amari Stoudemire's trying to be the savior of the city, and it goes sideways. I saw Derrick Rose's first attempt. I saw Derrick Rose in his prime. I saw a 28-year-old, 29-year-old Derrick Rose try to do it, and it not work. I saw Joakim Noah try to come here and revive the city, and it didn't work. Keyshawn is in the building. Andrew Collegier is in the building. Don P. My God, Don P is in the building. And this thing about Melo, though, Carmelo Anthony, what he means to the Knicks and what he means to the NBA in general is as simple as this. Guys like Melo don't come along often. Men like Melo don't come along often enough. Is he flawed? Is he flawed? Does Melo have flaws? Is Melo imperfect? I'll leave that. I want a perfect person in the chat to point out Melo's flaws. If there's a perfect person in the chat, point out Melo flaws for me. As I look at Melo, the first thing I think about is did Melo get the very best of his talent? Did Carmelo Anthony get the most out of the talent available? And the answer clearly is a resounding yes. Did Melo get the most out of his talent? I'll give you an example of a Hall of Fame talent and a YMCA career. Obi Toppin. Obi Toppin has Hall of Fame talent and a YMCA career. And why that seems like it's not fair, maybe it's not. But when you look at Carmelo Anthony, was Carmelo Anthony the fastest person you ever saw? No. Was Carmelo Anthony the highest jumper you ever saw? No. Was Carmelo Anthony the tallest small forward you ever saw in your life? No. Right? Was Melo the strongest small forward in the league at the time? No. But Melo could absolutely score. Carmelo Anthony was a scoring machine. That's who he was. That's his mentality. It's like me watching Sherwin in the chat. It's like me watching Sherwin in the chat. I know Sherwin knows basketball, man. I respect Sherwin, right? But it's like me saying Sherwin knows all this stuff about basketball and he coached, but I want him to be an analyst now instead of a coach. Nah, that man is going to be who he is 24/7, and we should respect that. Right? Carmelo Anthony was a scoring machine. When we assess Carmelo Anthony, what we should look at is, did he do the thing he was good at better than a lot of people? And the answer to that is yes. Did Melo do the thing that he did well better than most? Yes. See, in my mind, I don't want to compare Carmelo Anthony to Jalen Rose or Tracy McGrady or Danny Granger, or I want to compare Carmelo Anthony and his legacy to people like Alex English, Kevin Durant. I want to compare Melo to those guys. Because even though his career scoring average is, what's his career scoring average? Melo's career scoring average is 22.5 a game. Right? And in fairness to Melo and a lot of NBA players that did this, if they had just retired at a certain place, their average would be higher. But yeah. Carmelo Anthony in his prime. Carmelo Anthony in his prime is probably a 27-point per game scorer in his prime. DSJ says, but I don't know, kind of is that Melo on the floor or just on the roster? Don't forget, I know. Yeah, these things happen. Those things happen, DSJ. What I'm getting at ultimately is how we view Melo as a Knicks fan is totally up to you. I'm not going to tell you how to be a fan. But what I will do is tell you this. We unfairly judge certain Knicks players. And Melo is one of them. Melo stayed here for like 7 years with a super flawed roster. When I look at today's roster versus the roster that Melo had, I laugh, right? I'm laughing. Even as I suggest that, it's still comical. Right? Even as I think about this. What if Melo had this roster? What if Melo was 27 on this roster with Randall and Brunson and RJ and Mitch and Hartenstein and Grimes and man, Melo in his prime on this roster would average 34 a game. This team probably would be in the NBA Finals if Melo had this roster. Aunt T, what's good, bro? Rafa and Real in the building. What's good, man? What if Melo had today's roster? What if Melo was 27 in the NBA right now on this Knicks team with Jalen Brunson? Yeah, bro, when you think back to all the talent, or let me rephrase that. If you think back to all the dudes that played with Melo, come on. Ed Winning, thank you for the generous contribution. Ed Winning says, Melo was a star player that wanted to be here, but our dysfunctional organization didn't build a right team for him. Bargiani, really? Yeah. Ed Winning, thank you for the generous contribution, man. Hey, and thank you for that comment, too, by the way. Thank you for that comment. Thank you for bringing us back to reality. You feel me? We out here putting Andrea Bargiani out here with Carmelo Anthony. We out here trying to get Amon Shumpert to play point guard with Carmelo Anthony. I mean, I know when we look back at Melo, the Melo years, we look back at Melo like, man, he could have did this, he could have did that, and I'm guilty of that sometimes. Man, he could have did this better. Maybe if he'd have sacrificed this thing here and did this thing better and did all of this. You know what we should be thinking about? We should be thinking about how hard it is to acquire a generational talent. And what happens when a generational talent wants to come play for the Knicks? Chat, I'm asking y'all for real. This is me keeping it a buck with y'all. How hard is it to acquire a generational talent? How hard is it to acquire a generational talent? And if you think it's very hard to acquire a generational talent, then I agree with you. Right? Chat. How often does a generational talent pick out the Knicks and say, I want to be there? Right? Think about this. How often does a generational talent say they need me and I need them? How often does that happen? A lot of y'all been Knicks fans for like 20 something years. A lot of people in the chat have been Knicks fans for 20 plus years. How often do you hear a generational talent say they need me and I need them? How often do you hear that? I'm drinking water, y'all. Water is good, man. I'm sipping on water. Trying to get the body right. Trying to get a refreshed mind and a refreshed body. A refreshed mentality. Julian Blum is in the building. What's good? Yeah, man. Aunt T in the building. Shout out to the members of the channel. Aunt T says, not as often a generational talent would take a pay cut to stay in one place and win. Melo refused to do that. Right. You know what? I agree with you. I agree with you on that. But here's the thing you also have to look at. Who the Knicks were trying to give that pay cut money to. Melo wouldn't have had to take a pay cut if we didn't give Amari Stoudemire that albatross contract and not get production. No knock on Stats. Stats a fine human being, right? But we got about I'll give him the first season, even though it wasn't a full first season. After that first full season of Stat, everything else was no knock on Stat. No knock on Stat because I like him. I like Amari Stoudemire. I like Amari Stoudemire. I also have the feelings, the vibes that he is a Knick, right? And I could be talked out of it, of course. With him, I could be talked out of it, but I have a feeling that Amari Stoudemire was a Knick, excuse me, and wanted to be a Knick, right? But if that money in Stat was productive money, we wouldn't even be talking about Melo taking a pay cut. Or the money they tied up in Tyson Chandler instead of Chris Paul. Right? Instead of going out and getting Chris Paul. And we could have amnestied Amari but we amnestied a guy in Chauncey Billups that had 1 year left. Why? None of this stuff is none of these things are Carmelo's fault. But these are the things that get unfairly attached to Carmelo Anthony. If we amnesty Amari Stoudemire and keep Chauncey Billups, then now us having Chris Paul is a real conversation. Then we have Chris Paul and Chauncey Billups. Right? That's why I mentioned when people say it's about the name on the front of the jersey and not about the name on the back of the jersey. Right? If we hold the player accountable, how come we can't hold the organization accountable? I don't want to do that. I don't want to have that conversation of, okay, G Money in the building. What's good, G Money? G Money is in the building. Okay. All right. What I'm going to say also about Melo is Melo never backed down from a challenge, or you rarely saw it. I don't remember Melo shrinking in a moment. Melo was that guy. Right? Regardless who the opponent is, regardless if it's LeBron in his prime, regardless if it's a Dwayne Wade in his prime, regardless if it's a Chris Bosh in his prime, didn't matter. It didn't matter if it was a Danny Granger in his prime. It didn't matter. Didn't matter if it was a Kobe. It didn't matter if it was an Iverson. It didn't matter. It didn't matter if it was a Gerald Wallace and Amari Stoudemire, Peja Stojakovic. It didn't matter. Melo. It didn't matter if it was a Dirk, a Tim Duncan. It didn't matter. This cat came to score every night. Every night. He came to score. Every night. Every night he came to score. And this guy handled the media in New York like a G. Nah, it ain't Ray's fault. It ain't Felton's fault we lost. It's my fault. Nah, it wasn't. Our interior defense, we could have did some things better. That was my fault. The interior defense, man, that was my fault. I could have did some things better. Yeah, us ball handling out of traps and all that stuff and not finding open guys and all that stuff. That was my fault. Melo handled the media like a G. Daniel Barry's in the building. You was good. DB in the house was good. Yeah, the Knicks don't have. Yeah, our depth didn't necessarily produce tonight. That's my fault. Melo handled the media like a G, and and quite honest, to be honest with you, handling Phil Jackson and the New York media at the same time, being confronted every night by the media, at the same time you're getting stabbed in the back by the organization. It took a G to do that. Every night. Every night. Don P says, if I'm going to get a power forward who plays the style with mental issue, might as well sign Beasley for the... No. Yeah. Don P, we on one. Melo. What I'm saying about Melo is it's not often that an NBA player of Melo's stature, because he could have stayed in Denver. He could have stayed in Denver and been it in Denver. Melo could have played 20 seasons in Denver, made the All-Star team every year, retired as a Nugget, all of that. He wanted to do that. In his heart, he wanted to be a Knick. In his heart, he wanted to be a Knick. Always wanted to be that guy. Lead the Knicks to a championship. And for those in the chat that like to talk down on Melo, for everybody in the chat that want to talk down about Melo, like he should have passed the ball more. Who he passing to? For one, yo, that thing make me, I get so frustrated with that because it's the same conversation with Randall from 2 years ago. Randall should be passing out of double teams. To who? Cat's like, Randall got low basketball IQ. He don't pass out of double teams. Who he passing to? Elfrid Payton? Y'all get out of here. These NBA 2K GMs, if y'all don't get out of here. They out here like Randall hold the ball too long. He should have kicked it out to Reggie Bullock. Really? Y'all out here cooking Randall over Reggie Bullock. Y'all out here cooking Randall because he didn't kick it out to Elfrid Payton for 3. Get out of here. Out of here, man. What we talking about? What are we? They say the same thing about Melo. Like, Melo should have kicked it to Pablo Prigioni in the corner. He was wide open. Really? Y'all out here saying get the ball out of your best player's hand and give it to Pablo Prigioni. Alexei Shved set a nice screen for Melo, and Alexei Shved was wide open at the top of the... Really? We out here talking about Melo should have threw that backdoor cut to Ricky Lito. What? Are we really out here banging on Melo for not catching James White on the backdoor cut? We out here like Melo should have kicked that thing out of the double team to Bill Walker. Bill Walker from the Fast and Furious? Get out of here. We knock our guys for doing the best they can and making decisions and not getting teams over the hump, not realizing okay, LeBron went through that 1 year, and LeBron was like, I ain't never going through this no more. LeBron went through it 1 year, or no, LeBron went through it twice. When he was a rookie, he couldn't control nothing. He was a rookie. But y'all remember when LeBron took that jersey off in Cleveland after they lost to Boston? LeBron was like, I ain't going through this no more. I'm not. If you ain't bringing in talent, I'm not staying. Well, Melo stayed. I'm sorry. Y'all remember that Boston series when Boston basically did a 5-on-1 against LeBron, and LeBron was out there with a sore elbow, and Katz is clowning LeBron like he out there crying because his elbow hurting. I bet you Cleveland fans ain't bag on LeBron after that. Cleveland, and this is about Melo, but I'm just giving examples. Cleveland fans is out here. Melo won't. LeBron won't pass because his elbow hurt. LeBron's soft because his elbow hurt. Yeah, and when LeBron left that summer, y'all was out there burning jerseys with y'all butt hurt. Y'all bagging on LeBron because his elbow hurt, but when he left, y'all was butt hurt. That's why I'm saying the thing with Melo through all these seasons of the second highest paid guy is washed up. Right? And Amari, and no knock on Amari. Again, I'm not knocking Amari. All I'm saying is we all wish that would have turned out better. Me, Amari, the Knicks, Melo, everybody wished we could have got prime Amari. Right? Everybody wished that. But Cats is out here in these Knicks streets like, yo, we didn't win because Melo didn't pass. To who? Landry Fields? Melo should have shared the ball more. Man, he should have shared the ball. Jeremy Lin was about to take up. Really? Jeremy Lin? Jeremy Lin is the reason why we didn't win a championship? Are you serious? The Knicks didn't win a championship because Carmelo couldn't play with Jeremy Lin. Really? I'm sorry. Maybe somebody can break that down for me. The reason why the Knicks didn't win a championship is because Melo wouldn't, your multiple-time All-Star, your multiple-time All-NBA player, your multiple-time everything, wouldn't give up his role as star of the team for a random dude off the bench that had played in other different places that had not proven that he was an NBA star. I'm sorry. I just can't follow that line of thinking. I'm sorry. I just can't follow. Listen, okay. And Jeremy Lin was so good that when he left the Knicks and went other places, he really showed Melo. He really proved to Melo that he was the star the Knicks needed, right? Jeremy Lin, when he left, he really proved to Melo that he was a star. Or maybe he didn't. Jeremy Lin said, I'll show you, Carmelo. I'll go to Houston and take them to the finals. or maybe he didn't. Maybe he didn't. The thing about Melo is this. Carmelo Anthony is this. Respectfully, put some respect on that man's name. The thing about Carmelo is this. That man came here. He wanted to be here. And sure, he had to get into NBA politics and all of that stuff. Right? Sure, he had to do to wrangle the NBA politics and put stuff out there in the media. And sure, it was a weird route getting here. But nobody puts in that much work if they don't want to be here. Like I hear people say he was threatening to go to Brooklyn. That's because the Knicks and the Nuggets wasn't moving. They wasn't going nowhere. Listen, man, Melo did what he had to do to get here. Melo did what he had to do to get here, and he made it here, and it was worth it. All the stuff that the Knicks gave up for Melo, I know y'all talk about the Melo trade. Cats is legit like, yo, the Melo trade. We gave up too much to get Melo. Wilson Chandler, Danilo Gallinari, Ray Felton, Mozgov, a first-round pick that turned out to be Doug McDermott, 2 second-round picks. And I think IKBM Dre said the Denver Nuggets pick swap, which eventually wound up being Jamal Murray. Well, it was that too much, considering you got Melo, Chauncey Billups, Ronaldo Balkman, Sheldon Williams, Anthony Carter. Just the fact that you got Melo and Chauncey Billups, yo, come on. I don't even want to hear about what you gave up. I don't want to hear about what you gave up because of the mere fact that you got Melo and Chauncey Billups. You got Melo and Chauncey Billups. Almighty Finesse says, "How is that a lot?" Hey, Almighty, I don't know. I don't know. But my guy Melo is this. When you talk about Carmelo Anthony, right? What I would consider as a Knicks fan is this. What I would consider as a Knicks fan is this. Retire number 7. Retire number 7, right? First of all, what are we doing? Retire number 7, right? Bring that man into the organization in some capacity. Bring that man into the organization in some capacity, right? Like you did Patrick Ewing. Special assistant to somebody. Give that man a basketball job. Right? CAA Mafia, I hear you. I feel you. Yo, retire 7. Retire 7. I'm with you. Right? Right? Retire 7. Put it up in the Raptors. The Knicks have this weird thing about retiring numbers, right? It's like you got to be a certified Hall of Famer or you got to have won a championship and blah, 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 blah. Listen, when I look up in those rafters and I see some of those numbers that are retired, there's no way some of those players up there are better or had more of an impact on the Knicks than Carmelo Anthony. There's no way. IKBM Dre is in the building. There is no way we should even be thinking that number 7 shouldn't be retired. Bully, I'm with you, boss. I'm with you. We got to start as an organization. The reason why we're rudderless still is because we don't have an appreciation for our history. Like when we talk about Knicks basketball, we don't talk about Walt Bellamy. We don't talk about Richie Guerin. Right? We don't talk about Bob McAdoo. We don't talk about Ray Williams. We don't talk about Michael Ray Richardson. You feel me? We don't talk about Bernard King enough. We don't talk about Starks enough. We don't talk about Ewing enough. And we certainly don't speak about Melo enough. We don't speak about Melo enough. We don't speak about Pat Ewing enough. We don't speak about Stephon Marbury enough. Right? We don't talk about the greats of this game enough. We don't talk about the great Knicks enough. We don't talk about Allen Houston enough. We don't talk about Charlie Ward enough. We take everything for granted. A Knicks fan told me one time, I was on the telephone with a Knicks fan, right? Knicks fan told me he was getting paid, right? Yo, one time Melo was making like 25 a year, right? Melo was the highest paid player in the league, right? So why we got to do blah, 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 blah? And so my response to that is, wasn't other players in the NBA getting paid? Right? Instead of us always thinking about bread or championships, can we just appreciate some stuff? Even today, when I say Jalen Brunson is a megastar, cats are coming at me like, nah, he ain't no megastar, man. You got to cut your teeth in the playoffs. Oh, really? Stars are made in the playoffs, right? Okay. We out here talking about Jalen Brunson is not a superstar. Oh, really? Okay. Jalen Brunson is not a superstar. But this roster that Jalen Brunson is on won 37 games last year. This year, with Jalen Brunson, this team wins 47 games. What I'm telling you is get ready. If he stay on his path, if Brunson stays on his path, get ready to retire number 11. If he stay on this path. If he stay on this path, get ready to retire. If we get 6 more years of this Jalen Brunson, get ready to retire. Get ready to retire number 11. And I could see Knicks fans right now like, oh man, you jumping out the window. You jumping out the window because the Knicks should have been in the Eastern Conference Finals. We might have even been able to beat Boston. Really? Would you really have been able to do that without Jalen Brunson? Uncle Freezy, I just need to see it one more time, man. He got to do it. He got to do it like 3 more times before I'm going to say Jalen Brunson's a superstar. Right. And this is the same conversation that y'all were having about Carmelo Anthony. This is the same conversation that we were having about Carmelo Anthony. Oh, I know he did it this one time. I just need to see some more. No, you don't. You need to get your ass out of orange and blue and go root for somebody else. Take off this orange and this blue and put on black and white or some shit like that. Because what I'm saying to you, what I'm pouring down your ear right now is we as Knicks fans need to start appreciating the cats that give it their all for us on a nightly basis, starting with Carmelo Anthony. Starting with Carmelo Anthony. Some of y'all think he a Hall of Famer, but some of y'all thinking, and this is for everybody, some of y'all thinking he a Hall of Famer, and then some of y'all thinking like, yeah, he a Hall of Famer, but he ain't better than LeBron. So what? It don't matter. Who cares about LeBron? LeBron James never played for the Knicks. What are we even saying? These are the dumb text messages I get. These are the dumb DMs I get. Cats are just DM me out of the blue, right? Just out of the blue. I'm minding my business, working, and I see my phone light up. I'll click on it, and cats be like, yeah, man, yo, Uncle Freezy, appreciate the show. You know what I'm saying? The show, blase blah, man, you know, blase blah, boom, boom, boom. Carmelo Anthony retired today. Oh, word, he retired? Then I can finish reading the DM that's like this long about how Carmelo Anthony is a first ballot Hall of Famer, but he's not as good as LeBron. So what? Who cares? LeBron ain't never played for the Knicks. Knicks fans, what we doing out here, man? Can we just appreciate the cats that put the jersey on for us? Can we just do that? BT, what's good, man? Yo, as a fan base, can we just appreciate what we got? Knicks fans, can we just diamond in the back, sunroof top, kicking in the scene with the gangster lean? Can we just do that? Can we just be thankful for what we got? Mets, what's good, man?
Not much. I mean, other than the fact that
for what we have, bro.
Hopeful with what we have, yes. As for Melo's legacy, it's basically kind of the whole nearly man legacy, in my opinion, if you catch my drift.
Right.
It doesn't matter where he's gone. Like, to me, he's always going to have that. Never able to get the big win. Sure, he'll pump up. He's a stat sheet stuffer for a great player, one of the best to never win it all, but that's it. Never win it all. Know what I mean?
No, I don't know what you mean.
I mean, you look at people like Ewing, Oakley, Starks, great Knicks in their time. But the problem was, for one reason or another, they could never get over that hump. They could never get the ring. The closest...
We're right. Can I tell you what the problem was? I can make it very easy and palatable for you.
Trey McDaniel for Smith?
No.
Well, that was one of
the reason why Patrick Ewing doesn't have a ring is because of a dude named Michael Jordan.
Well, him too.
Right. Well, no, let's not just diminish. And then 2, Melo doesn't have a ring because of dudes named LeBron James.
True.
Right. It's easy to say that, well, if he would have did this better or that better or this better or that better. But Michael Jordan is out here with Scottie Pippen. And no disrespect to Starks, but John Starks is not Scottie Pippen. Smoke, what's good, man?
Salute.
So Jesso 11 says, did a commercial with Melo and signed a jersey. Love 7. Yeah, man. Hey, yeah, man. Appreciate the generous contribution, bro. Lions is in the building. What's good, boss?
I mean,
yo, man, I think Melo definitely, sorry, Mets. I think Melo definitely needs to be appreciated. Like the Porzingis era needs to be appreciated. Everything needs to be appreciated because we was bummy for so long, right? And this was my argument 3 years ago with a lot of these dudes, right? They so quick to make changes and do this and do that. It's like, yo, first of all, you should be happy they speaking about us in the light that they speaking about us, because you should remember, you should have PTSD from how they've been speaking about us in the past, right? And if you didn't want that to reoccur, right, that means reoccurring trauma. I don't know if people suffer from Stockholm where they like to live with their captors and stuff like that. I don't know if that's a thing, you know?
Right.
And
the media and the media is the captor, by the way.
Correct. You know exactly where I'm coming from, right? But me personally, I don't go with the mainstream narratives because I know they lie a lot, right? So, and people think because it's a uniformed and they got big money, they're not telling truth. Man, they sources is not always cited and they lie like everybody else, man. It's a job. So at the end of the day, man, you got to stick with the ones you with until the situation changes, man, and love the ones you have. You know what I mean? The problem is that we don't appreciate what they say. If you don't appreciate it when you have it, when you gonna appreciate it, huh?
Yeah.
Ray, you're echoing again.
Oh, my bad. My bad.
Yeah. And
so
it just
it's a question, because I'm not done with them. I'm not done with these guys, man.
let me ask you about the thing that you mentioned though.
Go ahead.
Right, about the thing about the Stockholm syndrome thing. I think that's a real thing. I think that the media forms narratives and puts like narratives out there for you to follow, because ultimately, whether people like it or not, like people think sports is competition, right? But if you're not an athlete, sports is entertainment.
Correct.
And you have to understand the value of both. Like say for instance, you put up a panel up here, you do a video panel, and you got 10 people up here, right? You might half the people on the panel might be athletes or ex-athletes or whatever, and then others might just watch sports for the entertainment value. So if they're not entertained, you are going to catch their ire.
Correct.
Right? It's just what it is.
But then again,
but as a fan, as a panel, even like as panelists, you have to be in the mindset, well, who am I? Am I a ex-athlete that understands Melo's struggles, or am I a fan of this and I want to be entertained?
Can I answer it both? I think I'm a little bit of both, right? I never played like collegiately in high school or nothing like that, but basketball was definitely one of my first loves. So, and when I wanted to get better, just even at playing at the park, I learned from the dudes that knew more than me, right? So I looked at the dudes that played in college, professional, overseas, or in the league. So that, and the first thing that inspired me to even go outside was N1 mixtapes. So stuff like that. You see those moves and then you want to go outside and see if you could invent them or redo them or even learn how to do them in the first place. So stuff like that. So that's the perspective. I get the outside and the fan perspective because people think I go crazy for Randall, but it's just appreciating what you have, because if we didn't even have this, that wouldn't even it's called manifestation, right? Even Randall coming here when nobody wanted to come here manifest us to getting Brunson that everybody considers better, even though he don't have the same accolades, right? So we can flip it and say it and switch it however we want to say it, but there are facts to it, and there are things that's actually on paper that matter. It's not what we say; it is what it is.
Okay.
And personally, there's actually a third camp you can throw into this: the politician. As some people would say that sports these days, if it's not athletics, it's entertainment. If it's not athletics, it's all politics because of everything that happens behind the scenes.
Mets, they call it sports betting now. Now everybody calling everything fake because now they allow sports betting, so nobody can trust nobody again. You know how that is.
Right.
That's really what it is. But as far as my point, I think Melo should definitely be appreciated for the simple fact that he's done a lot. He wanted to come here when nobody else wanted to come here, just like other people. So he deserves credit for that. Whether it manifested into what we wanted it to manifest into, no, it didn't. But you still got to appreciate what they've done for you, especially when they wanted to be around Knicks fans. That's hella irritating.
Okay. All right. So Silent Sniper, thank you for the generous contribution. Silent Sniper says, opening night, I want to see that number 7 jersey put in the rafters.
Probably won't happen.
Not that fast, but I want to see it too.
I say give it another few years before they lift that thing into the rafters.
Yeah. BT, what's good, man? How you doing?
I'm doing all right, man. I'm doing okay. Everything's good, but just wanted to put in some intake on Melo, how I felt. Hold on, give me a sec real quick.
All right, Dre, what's good, man?
Yeah, no, I'm here. I just said just give me a sec. My thing was at the time that we got Melo, I thought we'd given up a lot for him. But now that I sit back and look at his career, I'm kind of like, you know what, I was wrong about him. He was our dog. He was a guy that everybody hated playing against because he was that dude that just put his shoulder to your chest and constantly just be digging at you. So for me, I think Melo should have had a better opportunity, but the same way he was used like Ewing, like you said earlier about how they missed his good years, that's what we did. We just used him for a sign of hope, and he didn't even get it done, but he was our guy. He wanted to be here. So for me, Melo deserves all the respect regardless of his game. Plus, he even mentioned
hold on. But it's not about him getting it done. Remember, teams win championships.
Correct.
Teams win. And then for y'all that say it's not about the name on the back of the jersey, it's about the name on the front of the jersey. Mm-hmm. How come we not holding the organ? How come we say Melo didn't win championships and don't say the New York Knicks organization didn't win championships?
No, you're right.
It's a cop. Like I said, though,
like how they used Ewing, where we didn't get the best. We missed his best years and his best potential. That's what we do.
At least they tried to build teams around you, and they never tried to build no teams around Carmelo.
That's what I'm trying to say.
So it's a big difference, man. You can't even compare the two because those they don't even contrast. They don't even blend.
Not to mention that Ewing was a Knick from day one when we signed him, when we drafted him. Melo was picking a trade that was done as a massive cap dump.
Right, but the thing about Melo is we got Melo at the end of his 8th season, right?
Yes.
But the rumor about Melo leaving Denver started in his 6th season.
Facts.
Right? You remember that? It wasn't just that one day he woke up and he was a Knick. Right? One day it was Melo is disgruntled with George Karl. Melo is dating this lady that's on the radio in New York. Remember all those rumors?
Yep.
You remember that Melo dating this lady that's on the radio in New York. Melo want to get back to the East Coast.
He was too close to NY, even though he was in Denver. That was the problem.
Yeah. So now Melo want to get back to the East Coast because he thinking about marrying this lady, but they can't have like a distance relationship. She don't want to give up her career. All these different things.
That's when Lala was on MTV.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like there were some things like that 5th and 6th year, right? What the thing though that I think got Melo, the thing that got Melo trapped in Denver for as long as it did is when LeBron and Bosh and Wade said something about the extensions Melo went and grabbed his money right away.
Yeah, he didn't. He didn't. He signed that rookie extension when they didn't. That's what happened.
Yep. And it
Or it wasn't the rookie extensions. It was they
I go,
re-up
guys.
deals. It was they re-up deals because
Right.
LeBron was on a thing 8 years. Melo was on thing 8 years. Chris Bosh was on thing 8 years, and D Wade was on the Heat for 8 years. So they was going on their third contracts.
Right. Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's
but what
why,
I'm saying is the only comparison between you and is that they were both superstars that we missed out on their full potential. We don't know what they could have been had we had the organization supported them the right way. Yeah, Ewing made some runs and all of that, but he had to worry about Jordan. Same thing with Melo. But I'm saying, like, to me, they were our dogs that gave us a good fight when we thought we had a chance, or even if we didn't even have any. They still put on the field, court. They still contributed to us to me, for a Knicks fan. So that's what we got, and that's the best that they contributed. So for me, I'm happy with Melo because I saw a guy who a lot of people hated being and wanted to be here. And that's one of the things that I respect about him because he wanted to be here. I respect people who want to play for this organization. But the problem is, are they going to keep you? Are they going to surround you around the proper people? That's all my point is.
So
I think
let me
Melo
ask you.
came up
Can
short.
I ask him a question, Freeze? Are you a Randall supporter or dissuader?
Persuader. He's our guy. He's
All
our
right,
guy.
that's positive because in my mind, I'm thinking we should continue to build until people get the experience and learn how to win or learn how to lose. I don't think
I
we should
agree
just
with you.
jump into
I
a
agree with
session
you.
of one or two situations when that's not enough to go on. You know, that's my
No.
that's my.
I agree with you, but the thing is again, we are Knicks fans. We haven't seen a championship in over 50 years.
That's an
Our
excuse,
processes
man.
are gonna
We
be-
should be used to losing by now. Then we should be used to what we already used to. We can't keep using it for the excuse to make something happen that's not going to happen any faster than it's going to happen.
Okay, let me give you an example. Let me give you an example of what I mean. The process is going to take some time. If you look at the Miami Heat, look at how they're playing well as a team with limited superstars. That's what I'm saying. We got to build some type of core that we need to start from jump.
But
and
those
keep
limited
rebuilding.
superstars got specific skill sets too, Brian.
But they make it work. That's what I'm saying. We don't have that. We don't have an identity of who we are.
I think we got an identity. We don't got the skill sets to complement the identity that we have, man.
Right. Yeah. But the thing, ultimately, the talking point here is not about the organization. It's Melo and what Melo do and how we should appreciate our guys. Right. So when we talking about building an organization, the player don't do that. That's not his job.
Nope.
The player is out there to perform on the floor.
Yes.
And so if we're doing the blame game, this may not be the conversation for the blame game because if you talk about Melo, who's the best player we had since Carmelo Anthony, y'all?
Randall.
If I think about it would be Randall, but I like Porzingis a lot. But after Porzingis, it'd be Randall.
Right. You see where I'm going with this?
I know exactly where you're going with this. You
see where I'm look at.
That's why I hopped on.
Look at Miami, right? Miami legit transitioned from Dwayne Wade to Jimmy Butler.
Correct.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Smooth. They went to the championship his first year, Freeze.
Yeah. Look at Philadelphia. Philadelphia transitioned from Drew Holiday and Andre Iguodala to James Harden, Joel Embiid, all these guys. Right.
No, but would you even think Ben Simmons was on a team a couple years ago? Would you even remember? Do you even remember?
Yes, they passed on Jason Tatum in the draft. Right. Then look at the Knicks. Right. Look at the Knicks. Right. Look at the transition. Look at all the gaps in years. You go from Pat being your best player to eventually Melo, right? And then guys in between. I count.
Allen Houston was better than Sprewell, in my opinion.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't
think.
But y'all not hearing me though.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We throwing Allen Houston and Sprewell in there, but those dudes wasn't franchise players.
Nope.
Allen Houston didn't even average 20 points a game for his career.
Nope.
Facts.
He wasn't no franchise player. Allen Houston ain't no Hall of Fame caliber player.
But Spree was the man, though.
Spree was the man.
Did we get the Spree that was at his best, or did we get the spree coming down? Same thing with
We
Larry
got the
Johnson.
spree at
We
his
had
best
Grandma
because
Ma
after he
after
left,
back injury.
hold on, after he left us and went to Timberwolves, didn't he get first in the West with Sam Cassell and KG? Come on, man,
but again, you're not hearing me, bro. What I'm saying, I don't care what Spreewell did. He is not a generational talent. Period. You're not putting Spreewell. Can you compare Spreewell to Michael Jordan?
No, you can't.
No, I'm not saying, I'm not doing the very good player thing. The Knicks have had very good players over. What I'm saying is generational talent. You go from Pat to Carmelo.
You need guys that get MVP votes.
That's where it stops.
Like, we got to be talking about guys that get MVP votes.
Those are the
on a year
only
in and
two
year out.
generational talents we've ever had in our organization besides Willis Reed.
Back in the day, yeah. Back in the day, if it's over, I'm at a stage like now with Knicks history. With Knicks history, if it happened before 1980, I really don't count it in the current game. You know, no disrespect to those guys because they were great for an era. But what I'm saying to you is how often do the Knicks get a generational talent?
Not very often.
Not often. But you see generational talent pop up on every. The Bucks got one right now.
Yep.
Facts.
Right. The Clippers have two right now. Right. The Lakers have two right now.
One. That's debatable.
Nah, man. Paul George might be.
When Paul George was at his peak, he got MVP.
Kawhi, Paul George is debatable though.
Yeah. Paul George is gonna moonwalk into the Hall of Fame. Right, and he might be the greatest wing defender of all time. We got to give him credit. Statistics bear this out.
Greatest wing defender of all time?
Yes.
Nah, I disagree.
Okay. Over who? Scottie Pippen? How many? Well, listen. I don't want to debate the Scottie Pippen.
Yeah. I wasn't trying to derail.
My point is, Portland has one right now. Right. This is the point that I'm getting. Dallas has one right now. You feel me? Like all these teams have these generational talents right now in this moment, and the Knicks do not. So when the Knicks do get a generational talent, we got to appreciate their greatness. That's the point that I'm getting at. I'm not trying to knock other teams' talent or praise other teams' talent. I only use it for an example, right? Because if Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown both retired today, I'm confident that they would be in a Hall of Fame discussion, even though they're very young, only have like 6 years in the league. Right?
I was gonna say, Freezy, like people are tied to their narrative and storylines instead of just ultimately supporting what they do have in front of them.
Right.
Or the numbers. That people don't even support the numbers or what they see. They support the storylines. They'll see the numbers, they'll know the numbers this person produces for you, but they'll go against it for a storyline.
Bro, you got to, and that's why I say with Knicks fans, and I know they hate when I do it. I know people hate when I do a thing. I'm like, yo, you can't tell me nothing if you don't go to games. Right? And I know that's unfair. But if you have not seen Randall in person, and every day you bash Randall, shut up. I ain't want to hear that. And I'm not saying you got to go to 20 games a year, right?
At least spend your money to talk smack. Now, I know what you're saying. Put your money where your mouth is. You can't just talk smack when you ain't putting your money where your mouth is because your word don't mean that much.
Right.
That part.
Right.
I know.
What I'm saying
I put my money everywhere every year. I go to the game. So I only get to go to one game a year, and I bet you I'm going.
You're right. My point is this too smoke? Like we let the mainstream media force feed a narrative when you don't have to be force fed. Right? You can come here and you can rock with us. Yep. I mean, I'm the #1 chief rock in Knicks universe. We got a popping channel blowing tears. At nighttime, we have 120 people in here rocking. 100 people in here rocking. 80 people in here rocking.
Only growing.
Right. Because people like to have real Knicks talk to them and not a prepackaged narrative of a guy force fed to you on a daily basis, and they do the Knicks for clicks. Knicks for clicks is the reason why we don't appreciate Brunson, and why the reason why we don't appreciate Carmelo Anthony. Knicks for clicks. Right.
And it's not just that too. When they
I-
nick for clicks, what they'll do is it'll be a 15-minute video, and then you got to sit through 12 minutes of it to watch 3 minutes of Knicks talk, or they'll bring it up and it'll be in the first 60 seconds of the video, and then the next 3-4 segments of the video, it has nothing to do with us. But our name is in the title, and they'll insinuate that the whole video is about us. So just to get a click, and it won't be about us. You feel what I'm saying? So that's very deceptive and dishonest, and you can't trust people that just gonna lie to you. First of all, they don't even know you, so they don't got your best interest in heart. So you shouldn't trust what they say, no matter who they are.
What I was gonna say was Melo. One of the stories I liked about Melo was how he used to go at Paul Pierce. Paul Pierce was a beast, but he even said that Melo was hard to defend because of how physical and how strong he would take it to you. So coming from a guy like Paul Pierce, man, how Melo was that dude, that's what I'm talking about, why I like Melo. Because even though he knew he may not win a championship ring, he still went at you like a dog.
You need the cosign. You don't need just to watch with your own eyes to know that Carmelo a dog. You need Paul Pierce to co-sign it for you.
But I'm saying Paul Pierce is a dude that actually said it. Like, he actually was like, yo, I'd rather play against Kobe. I'd rather play against anybody but Melo. And I'm like, what? He was that much of a problem? So for me, it's like, no. Listen. What I'm saying is, for me, I already understood that. But for him to come out and say that and actually back it up, it's like, wow. So I wasn't wrong about Melo. It was just how the media and everyone around me said that it was wrong. Even Dre proved me wrong, because I thought we was wrong for getting Melo with the trade. But Dre pulled me aside and was like, no, look at who we gave up and look at this. And I'm like, you know what? You're
what
right.
did they do
My
after
analysis
we
of Melo
got Melo? What the players do? Gallinari ain't do nothing. Wilson Chandler ain't do nothing. The only person that did anything was Mozgov in 2017 when they won the championship and came back from 3-1. He's the only person that contributed.
And he was on the bench for that.
Ever.
He was on the bench for that.
Yeah.
The only thing that came up out that deal that was worth anything was Jamal Murray. That's it.
Right. But the
he
point,
wasn't on the Knicks.
Nah, he's talking about but the point that we getting at is this. Anytime something is of that value, you gonna pay that value. If you're a Knicks fan thinking you gonna drive a Ferrari for Honda Accord prices, the problem is not the Ferrari, it's you.
Correct.
Exactly.
Right? You're not getting ready to drive no Ferrari.
Say that again for them. That is you.
Yeah, you ain't gonna drive no Ferrari or no Honda Accord prices. You have the issue. I was in Charleston, South Carolina. No lie, I was in Charleston, South Carolina, and I think somebody was shopping. I had like some time to blow or whatever, and so I went to the place that sold Ferraris. You know, out on the highway something whatever. And I was like, oh, okay, man. I went over there. I was looking at I could not believe what I was seeing. Right. And he was like, yeah, for, you know, this one here, it's an older model. It's at the time, I think the Ferrari was like 3 years old. And he was like, yeah, it's such and such. It was Dre. That car was twice my annual salary.
It was gorgeous though, wasn't it?
But it was beautiful, bro. Right. And the person I was with was like, I ain't paying that much for no car. You crazy? And my man, smooth as silk, said, well, you in the wrong place, sir. You in the wrong place, because this is not, because, Ferrari is top of the line. If you want top of the line, you in the right place. But if you don't have top of the line money, if you don't have money to spend on luxuries like this, then you need to go across town. And he told us the name of the place. It was like a buy here, pay here place. And it was the smoothest diss I ever heard in my life.
Yep.
The dude, basically what he's saying,
your money short.
If you broke looking at Ferraris,
yeah, your money short.
Yeah, you in the wrong place.
You came here to window shop, get your inspiration up. That's what he told him.
Yeah, basically. And so the thing about Melo is of course you were going to pay that for Melo, and more probably. I think the Knicks got a discount. Because think about this: if you were trading for LeBron, think about this: if LeBron James was in that same scenario, and that's what we gave up for LeBron, would you be complaining?
No, but
No, that's what I said.
we
Dre kind of
overvalued
made
Mozgov. We
no.
overvalued
Like
Wilson
I
Chandler.
said,
Hold on, let me finish. We
I go ahead.
overvalued Gallinari. We overvalued all these players, so we think because the end result wasn't what we wanted it to be, we pretend that we gave up too much. But we didn't give up anything at all, but probably one contributing player to a championship team. And what did we have David Lee at that time? Did we give him up as well? I think we
No,
Nah,
did.
he was no. That was
he was
different.
gone.
No, he was
But
gone
but
already in
this is
free
this
agency.
is this is like the thing. Like winning a title doesn't mean it's a failure.
No, but
Ultimately,
that's
like
how Knicks fans look at it. We acquire somebody, we didn't get to our ultimate goal, so everybody looks at the experiment as a failure, bro.
yeah,
Right.
Brian wanted to say something.
Oh,
Go
no.
ahead,
All I
BC.
was just trying to say to you is a lot of times I am a Knicks fan and I did overreact. What I'm saying is after Melo retired, it made me take a second look at his career, talking to a guy like Dre, talking to other Knicks fans like Uncle Freezy and them, to make me realize I was right about Melo, but at the same time, we missed out on so much more because, like Uncle Freezy said, we got him at a discount because if it was any other superstar, we probably would have paid more. So for me, I'm saying now that I've seen everything and I've actually got a better understanding, not just listening to other medias, but actually seeing the guy's career, I respect Melo and I'm thankful we have him. That's what I'm saying. I'm giving big ups to a guy who had guys like Paul Pierce shook, who had other defenders scared to go up against this man. And he was our guy. We didn't get it done as a championship, but to me, I'm proud he was with us. That's all.
I wanna mention this one thing that I saw. Um, y'all want to know what the Knicks rotation was in Melo's last game, isn't
No,
Please tell him. Please, yeah,
no, we
please tell
don't.
him.
We really
Yeah,
don't.
it? Yes,
yeah,
you do.
please tell.
We
Please
don't.
tell him.
We really
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
because
we
we
do.
know it's atrocious. We know what it is.
Ron Baker, Courtney Lee, Maurice Sandar, Willie Hernan Gomez in the starting lineup with Melo.
With
Bench:
Melo.
Chason Randall, Sasha Vujacic, Mendauskas Kulikas, Justin Holiday, Kylo Quinn, Marshall Plumlee.
That
And
who and who?
All them
But that's the
dudes were
organization,
1 year
though.
or 2 years removed from being out the league.
man, like all I want to say is who.
Right. And so and the thing about like what Junior Blum says is understand what y'all was saying, but we gave up a lot in a sense that you couldn't rebuild around him, and at the end goal is a chip, my guys. It's been 51 years. But here's the thing to that too, Julian Blum, is if you had not done the Melo trade, would that team have won a championship?
No. No.
If you don't do the Melo trade and you keep that roster, does that team win anything?
And does the system work for so long to where we actually have a chance to make the
Can I
playoffs?
take you back? You know, the last time we went to the playoffs before we made that Melo trade, we was about to go to the playoffs with Stephon Marbury and Keith Van Horn, and they traded Keith Van Horn for Tim Thomas. And it pissed me off because we was in the playoffs, traded Keith Van Horn for Tim Thomas, and we missed the playoffs that year. I think that was one of the last years I watched for like 6 or 7 years.
Right.
Real talk. And you know, you a Knicks fan, so you dip in, you dip out. You realize, oh, your team, we lost. I'm not watching. You stuff like that. Why would you watch when you? I don't know. Nobody wants to watch a losing product every single day and lose confidence in their squad. You just let them get right.
Right. Right. Yo, but the thing ultimately, man, is I feel like as Knicks fans, we just don't appreciate nothing.
I've been saying
Period.
that.
And part of it has, and listen, I'm not saying that we should change who we are as a fan base.
I'm grateful.
What I'm saying is I think we should recognize who we are as a fan base, right? Because of the fact, as I watched these cats tear down the Randall poster and stomp on it when we lost and when we got eliminated from the playoffs, they recognize that this team lost in the second round of the playoffs.
Nope.
I don't understand. I didn't get it. Dre, am I missing something? Did the dream of an NBA title outweigh how far this team came?
No,
For
no.
them, it seems like it did, though.
It's ungrateful fans. Those are casuals. They're
It's
not real fans, man.
I'm more disappointed how it ended, but like I'm proud of where the team came from, the growth that it's shown between the players individually. Like I'm not about to just throw away the year just because we didn't win a title. Like, come on, there's steps.
Right.
There's steps to get to these points, these heights.
Yeah, and so when smoke, so I have this thing, right? Like I think people are starting to consider me a shock jock because I'm bold enough to say things that others won't say. I'm not really a shock jock though,
I would say I
right?
am more than you. You just. I wouldn't say play both sides. You have the conversation. You should, as a mediator and a person running the show, you shouldn't be pigeonholed or pigeon-toed or pinned to the wall on one central idea. You should be able to talk about the idea holistically. Honestly, I don't think you're a shock jock,
Right.
but I definitely think you tell it how it's supposed to be sometimes, and some people don't like that because they think this is an echo chamber and they only going to hear what they want to hear, and that's not how it is.
Yeah, and the both sides thing. Let me speak to that because that's a great point. The thing about that is when you're a moderator and Smoke has a point and say IKBM Dre has a point. As a moderator, you want to have it be fair and balanced if those two disagree, right? You don't want to jump in and have the say have the whole panel jump in Smoke where it seems like it's an unfair conversation where Smoke can't even get his words in.
I've experienced that already, just to say.
Yeah, that's whack. Yeah, that's whack. My point is if Smoke has a point and Dre has a point and I'm moderating, I'm just gonna be in the middle. Like, hold on. Let Dre get his in. Hold on. Let BT get his in. And people misconstrue that as you playing both sides. You're not really. You're trying to be fair and balanced to a conversation because the most important thing, the reason why you here watching the number one Chief Rocket Knicks universe, your main man Uncle Freezy, is because of conversation and content. Right?
Facts.
That's why you here. Right? You enjoy the conversation, right? And you contribute to the conversation. So when I step in, when I eliminate my opinion and just moderate to make sure it be fair on both sides, so the viewer and the listener gets a fire conversation, that's where, because I don't care about people. Man, you be flip-flopping, man. Some nights, man, you be coddling Smoke. You just let Smoke do all the talking. You don't let nobody else talk. Nah, I don't do that. What it is what I do is I moderate and have everybody give everybody the ability to talk. As a matter of fact, it's the reason, it's what you got to do with the open panel, right? It's the reason, it's what you got to do with an open panel. I could have easily not even put the link out here and just continued on talking about Melo, right? I could have easily just did that, right? But the thing is, when you have people and their own opinions, the best way to rock, if you're trying to get you a YouTube channel, make sure it be fair and balanced, right? Make sure when you moderate, now you're not going to be as good as me because I'm the number one guy, but when you do, like if y'all in the chat, y'all trying to do y'all thing, right? Make sure you be fair and balanced, right? That's just what it is. Like, what if Smoke came up here and BT wanted to say something, and I'm like, BT would be like, yeah, no, BT, no. Nah, man, you gotta moderate, man. People will be like, yeah, you be flip-flopping all the time. Nah. Three different people have three different opinions. How about let those three different people express their three different opinions and respect the fact that that is their opinion and not mine. I didn't tell Smoke what to say when he came up. Dre, do I ever tell you what to say?
Nope.
Some nights Dre will cut me off and just rock.
No, we both do it. I ain't gonna. I'm guilty of it too. I'm guilty of it.
And I don't have no problem with it. It's a part of the conversation, man. Let people get in their bag, man. Cats will be like, man, you be flip flop. No, man. I have my own opinion, and
But as the
sometimes
moderator, you should be able to have the conversation holistically because you are the person that has to guide the conversation, right? And when it goes too far, you the person that got to bring it back or let it go. It's whatever you pertain to, right? We can only do on your platform what you allow us to do. So at the end of the day, you have the final say so, and you allow us to do what we're doing, and we also grateful. At least I am. So
right, yeah,
at the
man,
end
this
of
is
the
how we
day,
rock.
at the end of, I won't even take it. At the end of the day, man, like you should be able to play whatever side of the fence you want to play because it's your platform, right? And it's a conversation. We should be able to talk all parts of the conversation. No parts of the conversation should be off the table. Then we're really not
And
having
this
conversation.
platform is an original. This
Real
is
talk.
an original. Nobody was doing this format before Blowing Tears. You ain't seen a bunch of cats on YouTube. Now, shout out to all the ones that came before me, but they were heavily moderated, right? Heavily.
Facts. They followed up.
One guy, two guy on the screen at a time, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah, it was heavily moderated. You get
and,
like
and they,
Smoke. How you doing? And Smoke said, "I'm fine." Moving on. No,
yeah,
nah.
yeah, yeah. And it's not even that. Like, or dudes will want you to come on one at a time, or you really can't really say what you feel. You gotta like, which is not. You shouldn't want to. If a dude allow you on his platform, you shouldn't want to violate it or disrespect it or take away from the conversation or just try to disrupt it. I agree with that as well. You know
Right.
what I mean? But in some instances, you got to protect people because it is what it is.
Okay,
But
Smoke. Okay,
dudes
geez. All right.
definitely don't.
Okay. All
They
right.
definitely don't let you say
All
what you want
right.
to say all the time, man. I'm gonna just say it, man.
Right.
They definitely don't, man. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah. Smoke out here pounding his chest in front of everyone. Okay, bro. We know you good. All right.
I'm
Relax.
not doing that. I'm just
All
saying,
right.
man.
All right.
Like that's why I'm not growing because I say what I want to say. That's part of the problem.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, man. Smoke out here pounding his chest. I'm good. I'm the best. Smoke you smoke you. Hey, no disrespect, man.
It's all
But
good.
yeah, but BT, yeah, man. The thing ultimately, what I'm getting at is I don't want to. I'm not trying to bash Knicks fans, and I'm not trying to bash even the moves that the organization made. What I'm
Mm-hmm.
really, in essence, trying to do is protect our great players against dumb backlash.
I
Like
agree.
people have backlash for no reason. Well, Melo didn't win a chip. Really?
But
How do you
see,
say Melo didn't win a chip, and then at the same time you say it's about the name on the front, not the name on the back?
That's why I come on this show because, like I said, I learned a lot to make me respect more of our players by talking to you guys because you guys, it's not the way that you guys allowed me to have my opinion. It's the fact that you guys showed me, like I said, Dre showed me we didn't give up much for him. You even said it. So for me, it's like, damn, I was wrong with that aspect. Let me see about his game. I was right about his game. That's our guy. But to be honest with you, we always fall short because the name in the front screws up the name in the back. That's our problem. So now for me, I agree with you. I want to defend our guy Melo because Melo was our dog. People feared Melo regardless of if he won a chip or not. And the last dude we had like that for me would be Ewing. So honestly, I just want Melo to be respected by everybody because he deserves that respect for wanting to be here and wanting to try to win. And a lot of players even now are still using Melo's game. I think one of the dudes from the Lakers, I think it was Rui. I forget who it is, but he trained with Melo, and right there alone tells you that his style could still be honored throughout the NBA. So for me, Melo deserves to have his respects.
Okay.
Agreed.
Okay.
Now go ahead, Dre. Spit, bro. I like hearing you talk about our Knicks, man. Go ahead, bro.
Um, I don't know if everybody muted, but like to speak on Melo, we did a lot of injustices to his talent. We didn't necessarily utilize him to his best of his ability. We tried terrible moves, the short-sighted moves like the Bargnani move. And when people get tied to narratives and certain things about players, like people hated Melo, as Freezy said, people hated Melo because he wasn't LeBron, which is ridiculous in a thought as a
Ridiculous.
thought. It would be like if we traded for, I don't know, people already poo poo against the idea, but it would be like if we traded for Joel Embiid tomorrow and people and we get to like a conference finals or get to the playoffs every year, but we don't win we'll be like, oh, he's not Jokic.
Yeah.
He'll never be Jokic. And we don't appreciate the level of talent that he is in terms of how his performance is on a night in and night out basis. It's a thing where people run with storylines and have biases, and they're tied to narratives instead of being tied to winning or being tied to being a fan of your team. And it's something that I never really understood or liked when it comes down to some fans.
Right.
And like, you can't tell everyone how to fan, of course.
No, it's impossible.
You can't. You're right, but the logic, it fails me at times.
Yeah. You know what, BT? I ain't gonna lie to you. Somebody told me this a long time ago.
Okay.
An old preacher told me this a long time ago. He said, "Everybody with a mouth shouldn't be talking." And I know that sounds wild, right? Like
Nah, I
everybody with
get
a
you.
mouth shouldn't be talking. I was like, wow.
Sometimes you should listen first before you talk, basically.
Yeah, man. Or leave it to the experts, man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, yo, I ain't gonna lie to you, Dre. I'm at a point right now. I'm at a point right now where I think the Knicks are about 2 years away from a championship. Right?
With what we got now?
But, yes. Right? But at the same time, if I say that out loud, the first thing people are gonna say is 2 years. I can't wait that long. I'm double parked.
That wasn't the first. That wasn't the first thing I thought.
Right.
The first thing I thought was with who. That's the first thing I thought. Me personally.
Right, but let me finish. Let me finish my thing though, because of course, right. And then some people are gonna say 2 years. I can't wait that long, right? And then others are gonna say, Uncle Freezy, you crazy. You always be talking about there's a pathway to this, or this guy is gonna be good, and you ain't never right. And I'm like, okay. Sometimes nobody is 100% right 100% of the time, right? But if you think about NBA basketball and the direction that it's going, I honestly believe that the descent of great teams versus the ascension of young up and coming good teams are gonna be basically what I'm getting at is those championship caliber teams that we all thought if they get hot they can win it. I think they're crestfallen, right? I think they're crestfallen like that story about the kid that put on the wax wings to go fly to find his father. He got too close to the sun and his wings melted and he fell down and crashed to the earth. I forget the dude's name. I forget who the person's name is, but what I'm saying ultimately is if you look at where we are as an organization versus where other teams are as organizations, I think us passing other teams is closer than what we think. But as Knicks fans, if we get to the Eastern Conference Finals and lose next year, you know what Knicks fans are going to say?
Burn it down. Start
It was
all
a
over.
waste.
Yep.
It was a waste.
Right? They're going to point back to this season and say, see, we should have been there last year.
Yep.
It's not how everything works. When it's your time, it's your time. Right? You got to take advantage of your time when it's your time. Right? That's why LeBron is pressuring the Lakers like so hard. Like, yo, I only have like a few good seasons left. I don't even know if I'm gonna be here when Bronny get drafted. When Bronny getting drafted, I'm going to where Bronny is. Right? So it's all these different things. That's why when you're in the moment, you don't be a prisoner of the moment, but realize you're in the moment and take advantage of the moment.
Hey, facts. But Can I just jump on real quick and say something about that? The winning the championship. Most people don't even realize that LeBron James went to Miami 4 years, went to the finals, and only won 2 rings. Even he had difficulty, but they don't see that. They just see, oh, that we're not going to win. That's why I said, if you believe that we can win in 2 years, I'll take it, because any championship or any improvement, what we did last year, would be great for me, because that's what I believe in: progress, one step at a time.
Right. Right. And I'm just gonna say this. I'm gonna say this to one of the longest. Let me find out. I'm gonna scroll up and see one of the people that's been in the chat the long. Julian Blum. Right. I'm gonna say this to Julian Blum, one of the people that I recognize that's been around for a very long time. And no disrespect to everybody else, because hey man, listen, and just keep I no disrespect to them, because I love all of y'all. I actually read y'all comments.
I agree with him.
I actually read y'all comments, man. Like when y'all have y'all comments in here, I actually read them. Right. So don't think I'm what I'm saying, picking out one and ignoring everybody else. It's all love to everybody. I read y'all stuff. I watch this on replay in the mornings. Right. But say to a cat like Julian Blum that's been around the block and all of that with Lawrence Tears, hey, JB, listen, the Knicks are going to win a championship in the next 2 or 3 years, right? I'm saying two. I know it's three. I'm hoping it's two, right? That's the reason why I said two, right? Because the Knicks have a base of everything you need to win a championship, except for a couple of things that are really cheap, right? They have everything in place that you need to win an NBA title, except for the things that are cheap, except for the things that come a dime a dozen. And if the Knicks go out and get those things that are dime a dozen this summer, right? What happens next year is we probably make the Eastern Conference Finals. But when you give that team time to gel and play together, I think we'll be the NBA champs, not only for that one season, but for the foreseeable future. I think the Knicks are the team to beat in the NBA. And yes, with Randall, and yes, with Brunson, right? The only thing this team needs is the small stuff that you can get. You can go the dime a dozen stuff. Once the Knicks go get that dime a dozen stuff, right? I think we're the team of. Do we have to trim fat? Yes. Right. I think Josh Hart is a part of the problem. We can't have guys like that making a ton of money. Right. If Josh Hart is here, he can't be the fifth highest paid player. We can't. We absolutely can't have it. Right. But when you go out and get the guys that do the little stuff, like the guys that their job is to knock down open threes, the guys that can defend wing players and scorers, and I'm talking about cheap guys. I'm talking about getting like 4 or 5 of those type guys to fill out the back end of the roster. And I don't care if they're veterans or rookies. And I don't care if they play every night. Right? What I'm saying is if you go out right now and get a wing defender, now you can see Grimes' offense come along, because his role right now is wing defender, right? But you go out and get a guy that's his job, and now Grimes can do other stuff. You'll see Grimes blossom, right? You'll see RJ blossom if he don't have to be the focal point of a defensive attack. Like, RJ, you got to guard Pascal Siakam tonight. You got to guard Jimmy Butler. RJ, you got to guard Tatum. You got to do blah, 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 this and that. And because here's the thing. Here's the thing. When you watch other teams do it, look at Boston, right? And Boston might be a bad example right now because their coach is whack, right? But Boston has 2 guys that can score at an elite level, right? And then at the same time, they have guys on their roster that picks up the fringes. And I know Brown and Tatum are great defenders, right? But when you force them to be great defenders on a nightly basis, their offense comes back down to earth, right? Or when you force them to be all offense, their defense comes back down to earth. If you can get some help for Brunson, like I mentioned last night, go get Brunson a big guard to be in tandem with him. Go get Brunson a Sean Livingston, right? And for RJ and Grimes, go get RJ and Grimes a Torrey Craig or some type of young guy like that out of the draft. Just go get a guy. Hey, Dre, who's the guy in Denver? Bobby Brown?
Bruce Brown.
Bruce
Bruce
Brown.
Brown. Bruce Brown. Go get a Bruce Brown, somebody like that can kind of help share in the workload. Go get Julius Randle a real backup at the 4, right? Somebody that is a real backup at the 4, like a cage animal off the guy that's in the McDaniel brother. What's his is that Jaden or Jalen?
Jalen. That's Jalen.
Jalen.
Yeah.
Go get Randall a real athletic 4 that takes pride in defense and rebounding.
Like a Jalen Williams and OKC type.
Yeah. Now you're talking about instead of depending on Randall with bumps and bruises every night to put up 30 and 15, or Jalen Brunson can't even go a night without playing 30 minutes, right? Now you have a team. And when I say this, and I know Knicks fans are going to be like, but that's why you pay Randall all that money. No, you don't. You pay Julius Randle $23.5 million plus bonuses and unlikely bonuses, right? That's what Julius Randle's contract is. Julius Randle is not $100 million guy. In theory, he's a $100 million guy, a big-time $100 million guy if he's the league MVP, if he makes all NBA first team and all that with those unlikely bonuses, right? Also, when you look at what I just said, though Golden State was good with Steph Curry and Clay, they didn't become the real Warriors until they had depth up and down the roster. When you look at Michael Jordan from the mid-'80s, Michael Jordan the Bulls was getting a head beat in with Michael Jordan until he got a Scottie Pippen, Horace Grant, Craig Hodges, B.J. Armstrong, those guys. So instead of having Randall and Brunson have to carry the weight of the team every night, if you make this team 11, 12, 13 players deep, now 13, Tibbs is not playing 13 players, right? He might only play 9, right? But on our team, once you get past 9, it's all chicken sandwiches. It's all we wishing on a star.
Crispy chickens from Wendy's.
See, Uncle.
We already. I'm sorry. We already have a saying for that. Now they're not chicken sandwiches. Guess what they are?
Ham sandwiches.
They ham sandwiches.
Wow. But
we already have a saying for that. My bad.
Nah, but Unc, like you was just saying about getting those minor pieces, that's what I was talking about, helping out the team as well. So I agree with you. What we have now, we just build on it. So you're right. I'm leaving it up to you, buddy.
Yeah, to that point, like you mentioned the Bulls, they drafted most of those players. It just took them to grow.
Right.
Mm-hmm. That's the thing.
Right.
We're impatient. Because
Scotty took 3-4 years to figure it out.
Right.
And even when he did get to the playoffs, he was having meltdowns.
He used to have a meltdown, just like Randall. Randall and Scottie Pippen have the same mentality, bro. But the thing about it is we'll praise Scottie Pippen, right? But Randall do that same Scottie Pippen like stuff. When you don't call my number, I'm upset. You know what I'm saying? I'm a star. You got to treat me like a star. Why am I not getting star? Scottie Pippen was that same dude, bro. And we praise Scottie Pippen. But I actually saw it with my own eyes. You know what I'm saying? So Smoke, what I'm saying to you, bro, is I can legit look Smoke in his eyes and say, Smoke, we about 2 years away from being a championship team, bro. 2 years. 2 years away.
I think we should still be building. I agree with mostly everything that you said. You know what I mean? We some criticism is fair, some criticism is a little too far. You know what I mean? It's just pandemonium and fandemonium at some point. That's what I'm saying, where we lose our logic and we just go a little too far because the outcome is not what we want it to be. So you know what I mean. I agree that we should continue to build, and you know what I mean. Take our positives and add to them, man,
I feel like you're coming in
and
for a
continue to
soft
grow.
landing, bro.
I'm not soft landing.
I feel like you trying to pat me on the back.
Look, I'm not packaging
Hey
it,
man,
man.
say what you got to say, bro.
I'm
Come
saying
on, man.
I'm saying it as nice as I could say it on Blue Orange Tears. You feel what I'm saying?
I feel like you hitting me with a feather, bro.
No, man, I'm telling you the truth. Like, how I honestly feel is like the 2 years is a good timeline. And I always like when we used to talk about timeline years ago, that like that don't fit the timeline when people used to be begging to play the kids. You remember when people used to beg to play the kids?
Right. And we playing the kids now. So
and they got exactly what they've been asking for, and it's still not enough. The goalposts just gonna always change, especially if we continue to meet expectations or surpass them. So
but Smoke, I'm not talking about fans. Fans are fickle. I'm talking about on the court.
yeah,
Right? Because if you chase the fans, bro, you know if you chase the fans, you'll never stop running.
and we never win ever.
Right. If you chase the fan, Dre, when you chase the fans, bro, you'll never stop running, bro. Never. Right. My thing is this on the court? On the court, we are.
I think the 2 year timeline, not to cut you off, my apology. I think the 2 year timeline is very adequate. You feel what I'm saying? We got two legitimate players. We got one unbeknownst to everybody. So if we could add one more legitimate player, then we'd be even more effective. Some solid role players around, no matter, because we will have 4 20-point players at that time, even if that next player that we add is hit and miss and sometime-ish. You know what I mean?
Right. No, I feel you. I'm gonna just say this to Dre. Dre, I think we in Tibbs' whack offense and his excellent defense. I think we are like 4 players away from being the NBA champs. Now, when I say 4 players away, hear me out. I'm not saying that we're 4 superstars away, right? I'm saying we are a reliable backup point guard away, right? We are 2 reliable knockdown 3-point shooters away, and we are 1 reliable lockdown wing defender away from being the champions of the NBA. And all those dudes I mentioned, you can get all those dudes this summer. In my opinion. Yeah, in my opinion. You ain't got the bro, you don't have to so okay, let me say it like this. In the immortal words of Prince, you ain't got to be rich to be my girl. You ain't got to be cool to rule my world. you ain't got to. All I need is some extra time. That's what Prince said it. He said everything accumulate in a nutshell. Like you ain't got to be like we don't need another hero, right? All we need is these things so that Julius Randle can do the Julius Randle stuff, right? We don't need somebody better than Jalen Brunson. We just need Jalen Brunson, a support for Jalen Brunson so Jalen Brunson can do Jalen Brunson stuff, right? We don't need somebody to replace RJ. We need somebody to play with RJ so that RJ can take on less responsibility and get into his bag, right? But when you talk about all the things that the Knicks have a point guard, they have a walking bucket, they have rim protection, right? They have good defenders. The only thing we're missing is those ingredients that I'm speaking about.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like a couple of guys, there's a lot of guys out there. Like you said, Jalen McDaniels. I even think Terrence Ross would be good. I think there'll be but the problem is dealing with Toppin's contract. How are we going to move that money? But I agree with you.
Yeah, man. I
agree.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I
Bro.
agree, but when we say 4 players, 2 of them might just develop internally.
Who are you
Like a
speaking
lot
of?
of the holes that we're talking about, can easily, well, not easily, but it's very like it's right there within the players that we
Grimes,
do have to develop within themselves, which is the
Grimes and
cheapest
RJ.
option. What you said, Brian?
Oh no, I was just asking. Are you talking about Grimes and RJ? I just
Talking
wanted to
about
know.
Grimes, RJ, and Quickly, all
Okay.
three of them,
Okay.
and there's a means to getting to that point, and sometimes I think Tibbs has set like a great baseline for us that we've established
Okay.
for this team. Like he set a great foundation, and if RJ is here and Brunson's here, Brunson is an extension of that sort of foundation, and he'll keep the team even keeled. Like the best players, when you have the best player, if the best player on your team is even keeled, or the top 2 out of 3 are even keeled, the
Right.
team will take on the identity of that player.
That is not true. You
And
know, people got their own personalities,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Right?
yeah, sure,
So,
but
so
I'm talking about on the
that is not
court. I'm talking about on the court.
that is not true. If
Hey,
that was
your,
true,
your
Any
mic kind of
any healthy culture,
your mic kind of crackly, bro.
you're cutting out.
Smoke.
But
Oh,
Yeah, smoke. Your mic.
everyone
no.
has their own identity.
Sorry,
but
sorry.
any healthy culture, a healthy team with a structure, you'll keep guys in line. Like Dennis Rodman fell in line when it came down to winning time, even though he
Right.
was an off the wall personality.
Dennis Rodman was a winner before he even came to Chicago. He
And
was
he
winning with
kept
Detroit.
it, and he kept
Right.
it in line for the bad
And
boys.
he
Like,
wasn't but he was a different type of player back then, and he did what he won on Chicago and still won. So you
but
can't say
it never
wait a minute.
affected the
Hold
court.
on.
It
He
never
didn't do that with
affected
San
the
Antonio.
he kept his business away from his pleasure, man. You gotta keep
But
it in true context, man. Not in
he
what
wasn't the
context you wanted to make it sound like.
I don't understand I'm not getting your point. Like, people can
You said
have their
you
own
said that
personality.
people, yeah, they do on the court. You assuming that everybody's taking on Brunson's personality. That's not
No,
true.
I'm not saying.
No, he didn't say that.
I'm not
He's
talking about.
saying I don't think that was the point. Even though I think I heard it like smoke.
Yeah, I meant like structure, discipline, keeping it together, being team first, like
Okay.
like taking responsibility. Like when you see the leader of your team do that,
you fall
usually
in
the
line.
rest fall in line. It's not
Right.
like necessarily changing who you are as a person. It's the identity of the organization. It is a culture thing. People talk about heat culture all the time, right?
Okay.
They get guys from all over the place and they fall in line and they fit the culture and they help
Right.
win.
Okay.
It's not necessarily changing who you are as a person. It's about putting aside egos and all these things that have nothing to do with winning to the side to ultimately attain the goal that you want to attain, right?
Yeah, it sounded like I was with smoke. It sounded like that, even though I knew what you were talking about.
Yeah, I wasn't meaning like Randall has to be a different person entirely mentally. No, like Randall can just be Randall. But it's one of those things where you have to put aside ego for the
But
greater good.
everything you're describing, he did exactly that this whole entire year. So, what more would you like from the man when he did exactly what you described?
I'm not about to turn this into a Randall bash.
I'm just saying everything you described. That's exactly what he did. I'm being specific.
Do you
Okay.
You want me to
Okay.
really answer that? Or?
I'm being
No.
I'm being specific.
So what's the
Okay.
what's the point though? What's the point of that though?
Well, I was just responding. I wasn't just saying that. I didn't.
No,
I
I'm saying no.
I
I'm
wasn't
asking,
making it about Randall, but I
no,
was saying
but I'm asking you
everything he
like
brought up.
where we going with it though?
Well, it was Dre's point.
I just brought him up for an example, like as a player, because I know he likes Randall, but it's not.
I
It's
like
not
Randall too, by
necessarily
the way.
just about Randall.
I didn't even think
It's
it
15
was.
guys on the team ultimately.
Okay.
So when we all lose, when one player loses, they all lose.
Yeah, it's about the name on the front and not about the name on the back.
Right.
Right.
So
Hey, but y'all listen, I
Yeah.
gotta get out of here and eat some dinner and get some stuff done before the Knicks at Night
All right,
podcast.
man. Thanks for
I'm
having
gonna
me.
try to do the Knicks at Night podcast a little bit earlier. I'm gonna try to start a little bit earlier. Try.
Hey, I'll be here
Emphasis
for support,
on
man.
try.
I need my Nick knowledge. Thank you, Unc. I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
And,
Dre,
and
stay up.
yo, Dre, real quick, and you,
Yo,
man, subscribe to my
I'm
subscribe to my
subscribed,
Dre.
bro.
If
Yeah,
you
we
don't mind,
subscribe.
Freezy.
Subscribe.
Yeah, man. Well, pop up then, man. When I drop
I be
the
hitting a
link.
like.
How about
I be
that?
hitting a
I'm
like.
sorry.
Yeah.
I'm hot on
Hit the
Uncle
link when
All
I
right,
drop
y'all,
it,
we gonna
and then we
gonna
can
get out
talk
of
that.
here.
You know what I mean? Off
How
the
you want